with another video for Ophelia Talks, and today we are making a cover for our tissues. So when you have them in your handbag, it's always nice to have them in a pretty cover, so that is what we are making today. I am simply using a loop and a button to keep it closed. There we go. We are plainly using just double crochets all along and some chains to chain up, but also to make our little loop. So what do you need for this project? I have used these two pretty colors, and they are Drops Love You 7. They're 100% cotton. I have lots of these left. I have them in all kinds of colors. I really like working with them, but I find that they are very thin, and for something like this I always like to double them up. It doesn't make it easier to work with, because obviously you have to make sure that you're always picking up your two strands, so make sure you do that. And if you notice you haven't and there's a little loop hanging out, take out the stitch and do it again. As you can see, I have the two balls here lying here, and I've got the middles coming out, and I have the ends together here. So that's how I do it. I make sure these are lying nice and steady on my desk, and then I can just pull them out as I use them. Now normally I would use a 2.5 or a 3 for just a single strand. I am using a 3 for a double strand, so to make sure that it's nice and tight. What you also need is your pocket of tissues. I always measure as I go, so that's very important for you as well. These are Boots' own tissues. Because of these colors, I chose these two because it's a little bit similar, but yes, I try to measure as I go. So even if you buy the same ones, again, we have different tension. You might just need one or more, one stitch more or less, so keep measuring. I also have a selection of buttons. I looked in my little button box, and I found some pretty buttons. I do think I am going to make this one exactly the same as this one, because I need two little presents. So this is an ideal project for, if you need some presents. And what I also have ready here is my just one thread threaded onto my needle, and I haven't done a knot in the back yet. But the thing is, you need a needle that will go through your button, but also that the eye is big enough for your cotton. So I had to look for a needle, and it took me quite a while to get it on there, so I thought I might as well get that ready, so I am quickly doing that when I need it in the video. So shall we get started? So let's get started. Taking my two strands and treating them as one, making sure that I always pick up the two strands. I'm going to make my slip knot, insert my hook, and off we go. So I am going to chain 11, 1, 2, 3, 4, just checking there, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 and 11. So that should be the width of your tissue pocket there. And then we are going to do 2 chains, because that 2 chain will become our first double crochet in the last chain. 1, 2, so that's our first stitch. Then we are going to go into the next stitch, but we are not using the 2 V's at the front. We need to use the back bump. And let me just show you what that is. So you have your 3 V's here, 1, 2, 3. You're not using those. You are using the 4th one, but the back bump there, because you need your you need the V later on. and we do a double crochet in there. So that's going to be a little bit fiddly to find that back bump. Let me just show you carefully. So this is the front of your chain. When you look at the back, you see these, and they're all pink here, except this one, blue, pink and blue. Can you see it? That's what you need to pick up. So you yarn over, you pick that one up there. So it's like the third loop really, but they call it the back bump. And you are going to do your double crochet in there. So double crochet is yarn over, you pick up your third loop, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Okay, it's called the treble in UK. There we go. And this will give us our whole V left over for later on, because we're going to have to use the back loop only later on. Okay, so back to our bump here. There we go. And we should have, at the end of this row, we should have 11 double crochets. Oh, that's, I think I didn't pick up properly here. Yeah, that's it. So making sure again you pick up both strands of that, you know. Oh, this is really fiddly. It's only 11 stitches. Thank goodness for that. I do like how putting two colors together, this is playing with the colors and how it, you know, how it's going to show, you know, depending on, you know, what color is lying at the front. Look, this is a little bit more pinky, this is more bluey. See, I like that. Okay, so I'm trying to avoid doing the last one here. Okay, there we go. Right, so let's just count 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and then the 11th one is our chain. Okay, now we are going to chain up 2. I always chain up 2 for a double crochet. If you chain up 3, then please do go ahead. Skipping the first one because our chain comes out of that first one, we are just going to pick up the whole V and do another 10 double crochets. So again we will have 11 stitches because that first chain will count as our double crochet. And I'm just going to do that quickly here because it's not going to take long. Now what we are creating at the moment is the bottom of our tissues, so I am going to just hold it against the tissue pocket in a minute just to make sure that it does fit. Now here I have that chain. Make sure you don't forget to go into it and do another stitch, because otherwise, oops, see, this is what happens sometimes. You let go or you lose one of the strands, so make sure you reset it. There we go. Okay, so once again, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11. Okay, so this should now be approximately the size of this. Okay, and that's right. Don't make it bigger, make sure that it is either the exact size or a little bit smaller. Now we are going to start working on the sides. So let's chain up 2. 1. See, this is what happens as well. Sometimes it splits. And now yeah, it's still okay. Yeah. 2. Okay. Now we are going to, again, this is our first stitch coming out of that first stitch here. So we're not going to go and do another one in here, but we're going to go to the next one. And we are picking up the back V there. Once again, we are doing double crochets along the side here. And once again, yeah, making sure each time you pick up those 2 strands. Now, when you have these 2 colors, that makes it a lot easier to make sure that you have picked up both strands. If you are using 2 of the same strands, it might be a little bit more difficult to just see it quickly, but you'll get used to it, I am sure. Here we go. And we're nearly at the end. So here we do 11 double crochets. So let's count them again. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 I've only done, so I still have to do the last one. Indeed, that is the chain that I still have to work into. Now we are doing the side, and because we've done 2 double crochets sort of on top of each other, we are going to do 2 double crochets in each double crochet. So pick up a location at the top of that chain that you did there, and sort of another one here. Yarn over first, there we go. So anything that you can pick up, basically. Okay, so you're sort of working into the side. Shall I just pick these 2 up here? Yeah, see, and here, look, my little cotton split, just making sure it's back on my hook properly. And another one. And to be honest, I just look for any location on the side that I can do. See, look, I've lost a strand. There we go. So always checking to make sure you're not losing your strands. Okay, so we've done 11 here, we've done 4 on the side. Okay, then we are back on that side here, and remember we did in the back bump earlier, because now we are going to use the back loop, because we want that little edge hanging out here just for a little bit of definition for our pocket there. So into the first stitch here, back loop only, and that's only 1 strand. Let me just see. Yeah, there we go. I managed to pick up both strands, and yeah, back loop only. Yeah, and here again we are doing 11 double crochets on this side. Right, yep, and it's going well. There we go. A few more. So we've done 11 on one side, we've done 11 on this side, that's 22. We've done 4 stitches on one side, and then we will try and pick up 4 stitches on this short side here as well. So in total we will be doing 30 stitches. Okay, so we've got 4 there, so this is the 4 on the side. Let me just 1, 2, 3, 4, and then here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then yes, indeed, here I have to do the 11th one into that chain, pick up, try and pick up just 2 strands of something there. Okay, and now we have those 2 double crochets. We're working into their bodies or wherever we can again to do 4 double crochets, just picking up any 2 strands. So that's the first 2, and now here I'm into that last double crochet here. Let me just try. There we go. Oh, no. Sometimes it helps if you turn your hook to just hook under it like that. Yeah, I've got 2 strands. Have I got 2 whole strands? That's the question. Doesn't look like it. I think it's split. Oh no, it was right. So okay, a double crochet here, and let's just do one last one anywhere you can, really. There we go. Right. Okay, and now we are ready to do a slip stitch. So we have those 2 chains into the V that's above those 2 chains, and we do a slip stitch. There we go. Okay, so this is our bottom and our first round done. And yeah, you know me, I am always trying it out, right? This avoids making something that then later on doesn't fit at all. And I think this is perfect. Look at that. It fits nicely around the bottom of my tissue pocket. Now we are going to start doing rounds. So we have 30 stitches. Now if you notice that you might have gone out a bit, or you are making more stitches, please undo it again, and you try and count your stitches. I have to say I do lose a couple of stitches as I go. Okay, so you have to do 10 rounds. So this is number 1. You have to do another 9 rounds now, and I do have to admit I lose about 3 stitches along my work. Okay, so every third row this is what I do. So you chain up. This chain counts as a stitch that comes out of this stitch here. So when I do a stitch in here, that's when I do my slip stitch around the loop or around the V. That's going to be here. But sometimes I also skip this stitch here and I start crocheting in the next one. Okay, so normally you would just crochet in every stitch around. About every third round I skip. Okay, and so that way it won't be that big of a gap normally. Sometimes when I notice that this is smaller, that's when I do my skipping. Okay, I just want to avoid it going too big, or sometimes also with your tension it might just go out a little bit. So I would recommend, yes, lose 2-3 stitches along your 10 rounds that you are doing, but also keep putting it on, and if you notice there's a gap, either undo that row and lose a stitch, or just lose a stitch in the next round, depending on how big the gap is. So I'm going to continue now. I'm not going to lose a stitch in this round here. I'm going to continue now, and I will see you when you have done your 10 rounds of double crochet, going round, and then slip stitching, chaining, and then starting again. Right, so I'm at the end of my 10th round. I think I have like 27 stitches, so I have lost a few along the way. It still fits nicely around my tissues, so I think that is fine. I've just done my slip stitch, I've cut it off, and I am going to sew this in. So let me just show you that it fits in really nicely indeed. There we go, and you can't even tell that I lost a few stitches, right? There we go. Okay, so this has to be sewn in, and we are now going to do the loop. Right, so I quickly sewed in the end because I also got a notification that my battery was low, so I thought I might as well amend that problem as well. So I have now here my end sewn in, so don't forget to sew in your end at the bottom as well. Okay, so you'll have to turn it inside out for that. Now I put my tissues inside, and I sort of make sure that it looks nice. Make sure that your edges are nice and sort of where they are supposed to be, and then you can see about where you want this button, but also where you're going to attach for your loop. So for your loop, I suggest once again that you have your double strand of yarn, and let me just find the end of it. There we go. You make a slip knot, and with your hook 3 you are going to go under the 2V, sort of like that, and then you'll be using this one as well. So this is sort of, yeah, in the middle of the back basically, and you are going to attach with a standing stitch. Hang on. There you go, so a standing single crochet. Okay, then you are going to chain 25. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. Okay. And then keeping this out of the way, preferably. Oh dear. Right. You can then look at how far this will take you down there. See, that's perfect. Okay. And then you tighten it up a bit again. Next to that stitch you insert under the 4 loops or 4 strands. Tighten it and do a single crochet. There we go. So we have now attached the loop, and you might think it's not that strong, but once you sew in these ends, make them disappear on the other side, on the inside, and sort of sew them in quite wriggly at the back, you won't be able to tell from the outside that you have done that. That will make it a lot stronger. And then all you'll have to do is put the button in. So try and gauge, so with a little bit of pulling, okay, so that it would be tight, you sort of look to see where this button needs to be, and I think it needs to be just about there. So keeping your eye on there, get your, oh, I've lost it. Oh dear, this is typical me, isn't it? Let's put that knot in there first, okay. This is what I do. I don't know how you would make your knot in your... There we go. Okay. So let's do that again. Oh, that's just me, isn't it? Right, so pocket in really well. Button this, yeah, round it. About there. This one here. So what I tend to do, I just tend to choose a stitch. You know, it's a lot easier if you take the pocket out, and I go through the stitch's body, but also I try to go through the strand as well, because that will help with attaching your you know, how strong you attach your strand or your button there. Okay, so I just keep going now with the button. Why is it twist? Oh, it's twisted. Okay, so pull it tight. There we go. Okay, and now just try and do a few more pass through. So pass through the button, out the other end, and then come back through the body of the stitch. And do that a couple of times, going through the button. Yeah, and then through the stitch again. Through the button. Yeah, I think that's the last time I can get through there because it's looking quite crowded in there. Yeah. And now this time I'm just going to go to the back, put this inside out, and pull my cotton through, making sure there's no loop left. Yeah, and now I'm just going to sew in the end here a couple of times through that stitch, but also trying to incorporate that knot that I made earlier so that that is stronger as well. Okay, and then I also sew in the ends of the loop, and then our project will be finished. So if you need a small present for someone, a quick present as well, because it doesn't take very long to do this, then this is an ideal present. Or if somebody has a cold and you want to give them a piece of a packet of tissues, then you know, this is an ideal way to wrap them. So I'll be sewing these in, but yeah, this is the tissue pocket that we are making. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.